I still remember the exact second my hand closed around the pen and I signed away everything they thought I owned. Not because I was weak. Because I was waiting. My name is Elias Thorne. I'm 37. I fly cargo jets out of Atlanta, long nights, short turnarounds, the kind of schedule that teaches you how to stay calm when the world is screaming. I have 2 kids, Lila, 10, who still collects sea glass like it's currency, and Milo, 7, who believes every wave is trying to tell him something. Their mother and I ended things quietly 4 years ago. No explosions. Just 2 people who finally admitted the silence hurt more than the arguments. My family, though, my family has always preferred explosions dressed up as concern. It started in a lawyer's office on a Tuesday morning in late spring. The air smelled like fresh printer paper and someone's vanilla candle trying too hard. Across the polished table sat my older sister, Mara, legs crossed like she was posing for a magazine spread titled, Reasonable Grief. My mother perched beside her, hands folded, smile gentle in that practiced way that always made me feel like the unreasonable one. Mara slid the folder toward me without preamble. Grandma left the cottage to you by mistake, she said, voice flat as weather. She meant it for my girls. Sign it over. I looked at the document. 1 beach cottage. Cedar shake siding. A crooked screen door that slammed if you didn't catch it. The place Mom called the Little Escape, and Grandma called the only place I could hear myself think. I'd spent every summer there until I was 18, fixing bikes with Grandpa, teaching Lila how to skip stones, watching Milo chase ghost crabs until his feet turned black with wet sand. My mother leaned forward. Do what's fair, Elias. Family looks out for family. Milo was sitting beside me, knees pulled up, tracing invisible patterns on the leather armrest with one finger. He hadn't said a word since we walked in. I felt his small body go rigid when Mara said the word mistake. I smiled, small, calm, the smile I use at 35,000 feet when turbulence hits and passengers start praying. Okay, I said. I signed. Mara's shoulders dropped half an inch. Mom exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for years. Can I have copies of everything we just did? I asked politely. They nodded. Of course. I was being reasonable now. What they didn't know, what I had carried in my messenger bag like a live grenade, was Grandma's second will. Dated July 2023. Drafted in secret at my great-uncle Harlan's law office 2 hours away. Harlan, the quiet one who never raised his voice but never backed down either. Grandma had called me that summer from the cottage payphone. Yes, it still worked, voice low and steady. Elias, I need you to drive me somewhere tomorrow. Don't tell anyone. I didn't ask why. I just showed up at dawn with coffee and her favorite cinnamon roll. She climbed into the passenger seat holding a manila envelope like it weighed 50 pounds. At Harlan's office she said, I want this ironclad. No room for interpretation. No room for sweet talking. Harlan looked at me over his glasses. You sure about this, Evelyn? She didn't blink. I've never been surer. The new will left the cottage to me, in trust for Lila and Milo. It also contained what Harlan called the no contest razor. Anyone who knowingly pushed a revoked earlier will would forfeit every dime Grandma had left them. She knew. She had always known. The first crack appeared years earlier. Christmas 2020. Lila was 6. Grandma had given her a tiny silver locket with a grain of beach sand sealed inside. Mara's daughters opened matching American Girl dolls. Later that night Mara cornered me in the kitchen while everyone else sang carols. She doesn't need jewelry, she whispered. My girls need real toys. Give me the locket. I'll trade her something age-appropriate. I said no. Mara smiled that thin, patient smile. You're never around, Elias. You wouldn't understand what kids actually need. Mom appeared behind her like choreography. Don't make a fuss, sweetheart. It's Christmas. I swallowed it. I always swallowed it. Then came the money transfers. Small at first. Grandma's monthly deposit to the kids' college accounts suddenly rerouted. Mara said it was a clerical error. Mom said, we're just helping organize things while she's slowing down. Grandma wasn't slowing down. She was watching. The summer before she died, she asked me to install a simple camera on the cottage porch. For peace of mind, she said. I did. Motion alerts started coming at odd hours. Mara's car. Mara's husband with a realtor. Mara walking the property line with a measuring tape. I saved every clip. I didn't confront. I waited. She passed in March 2025. Peaceful, they said. I got the call at 2:17 a.m. in a hotel outside Memphis. I flew home the same day. At the graveside, Mara cried loud enough for the whole cemetery to notice. Mom cried in perfect proportion. My kids stood beside me holding hands so tight their knuckles turned white. 2 weeks later the pressure began. Texts. Calls. We need to talk about the cottage. Mara left a voicemail. You're never there anyway. My girls would actually make memories. Mom followed with, let's keep things peaceful, Elias. For the children. Then the rental listing appeared. Airbnb. Charming coastal retreat. Steps to the shore. Perfect for families. Photos of Grandma's faded quilt on the bed. Milo's drawing still pinned to the fridge with a magnet shaped like a crab. Host, M. Ellis, Mara's married name. I called her. She answered laughing. It's just until probate clears. Expenses add up. I said, take it down. She said, relax. You don't even want it. I hung up. I started the folder. Every screenshot. Every time-stamped clip. Every bank statement showing the rerouted deposits. The camera footage of Mara entering the cottage with a spare key she swore she didn't have. I called Harlan. He didn't say, I'm sorry. He said, do you still have the envelope she gave you? I did. He said, bring it. And don't tell them it exists. The second meeting was May 12th, same office. Same vanilla candle. Mara wore red lipstick like armor. Mom wore pearls and that soft, martyred expression. The probate attorney, Mr. Nguyen, laid out the 2018 will again. We just need your signature disclaiming interest, Elias. Mara leaned in. It's what she wanted. Mom touched my arm. Don't be stubborn. I reached into my bag. Set the envelope on the table. Plain manila. Harlan's return address in the corner. Mara laughed once, sharp, nervous. What's that supposed to be? I said nothing. Mr. Nguyen opened it. His eyebrows rose. He read silently for 30 seconds that felt like 30 years. This revokes the prior instrument, he said slowly. Dated July 2023. Bequeaths the Surfside property to Elias Thorne in trust for Lila and Milo Thorne. And there's a forfeiture clause for anyone presenting a revoked will knowingly. Mara's face drained. That's impossible. Mom whispered, Evelyn wouldn't. Harlan stepped in from the side door, gray suit, calm eyes. I witnessed it, he said. I notarized it. And I advised her exactly why. Mara stood so fast her chair tipped. You set us up. I looked at her. Grandma set the boundary. You crossed it. Mr. Nguyen cleared his throat. If this is authentic, and it appears to be, the disclaimer you just signed is meaningless. It was based on an invalid instrument. Mom's voice cracked. This is tearing us apart, Elias. I said, no. Protecting what's left is keeping us together. Mara lunged for the papers. Harlan slid them away without effort. Mr. Nguyen started typing. I'm filing the 2023 will immediately. And I'll need documentation of the unauthorized rental activity. I placed the folder in front of him. Screenshots. Timestamps. Footage. Mara's breath caught when she saw her own face on the porch cam. 2 days later I drove south with the kids. New locks. New key code. Lila stepped onto the porch and inhaled like she was tasting air for the first time in years. It still smells like her, she whispered. Milo ran inside, straight to the window, pressed both palms to the glass. The waves are louder than I remember, he said. I stood in the doorway watching them move through rooms that suddenly belonged to us again. No more pretending. No more swallowing. Sometimes I still hear Mara's voice in my head, "You're tearing this family apart." Maybe I did. But the alternative was letting them erase the one person who ever saw us clearly. Grandma didn't leave me a house. She left me proof that quiet boundaries can be louder than any scream. If someone tried to rewrite your grandmother's last promise to your kids, if they smiled while they did it, would you sign? Or would you wait? Tell me in the comments. I read every one.